Okay, it is time for Good Take, where Mike and I share our good takes that we've been cooking up all week about things in and around the NBA. Mike, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so this is going to seem like odd timing, given that the Minnesota Timberwolves just got thumped by the Spurs. But my take is that Chris Finch has become the most underrated coach in the league. You never hear him mentioned in the same rarefied air as guys like Spoelstra or Joe Mazzulla or any of these other guys that are getting votes for Coach of the Year, kind of season after season. But let's take a step back and look at some of his recent accomplishments. He has taken two different but talented but flawed rosters to the Western Conference Finals. First, it was kind of the Edwards, Gobert, Towns team, and then they flipped Towns and Randall. And even though they play the same position, those are two very different players with very different strengths and weaknesses and places they want to be on the floor. Didn't really matter. Made it to the Western Conference Finals both times. And this is the third straight year where he, has progressed in the playoffs as an underdog in a series. 3 years ago, they memorably beat Denver. But even before that, people forget about this one now. But they swept the Suns after the Suns had swept them in the regular season. And the Suns were actually favored in some sports books to beat them in that playoff. Didn't matter. They got swept. Ended the Durant era in Phoenix, I believe. And and then they moved on to Denver, beat them, made it to the Western Conference Finals. Last year, there's another one that people don't remember. After the Lakers traded for Luka Doncic, they were riding high. They were predicted to win in 5 or 6 games. And Timberwolves said, nope, we're fine. We're fine here. We're going to crush you guys with our athleticism, our youth, and our defense. And they did. And then this year, Denver again. That's a heck of a playoff resume. This year in particular has been impressive because they've done it without a healthy Edwards, without DiVincenzo for a couple games, without Dosunmu for a couple games. Those are 3 of a team that was ostensibly very thin. They're missing 3 of their players, or at least like partially missing 3 of their players in several important games, including closeout games against Denver. Just beat San Antonio in game 1. Game 2 was horrible, but game 2, that's kind of how everyone expected it to go. You get this early win, you're a little shorthanded, you're happy to get out of there with a split thing. He's an after timeout wizard. Like Minnesota is usually near the top of the charts for like points scored out of timeouts. And I think one thing he doesn't get enough credit for is he manages personalities really well. There's a lot of big personalities on these teams, from Rudy Gobert to Karl-Anthony Towns to Julius Randle, even to lesser extent guys like Bones Highland. And he's been able to kind of corral all these big personalities and get them to do things like we just mentioned. Like he sat Gobert for an entire fourth quarter in a game where Gobert was playing very well. You didn't hear a peep of complaint about Gobert afterwards, right? And hey, winning cures everything, but they are winning in the playoffs, and that's kind of the point here, right? There are some criticisms you could say. He doesn't really develop his younger guys as much. You need to earn his trust. But I think once you do, he empowers you and lets you do things that you might not be able to do in other rosters. And Bones Highland is a great example of this. This is a guy who looked like he was about to wash out of the league. It took a while for him to kind of earn Finch's trust and earn a spot in the rotation. And now he's out there, doing his little finger waves every time he hits a 3-pointer and everything. And it's kind of like a great reclamation project. So that's my take.
I think you have really good regular season coaches and you have really good playoff coaches. And it's similar to what Draymond Green talked about, 16-game players and 82-game players. I think the same goes for head coaches in the NBA. Mike Budenholzer, Mike D'Antoni, these guys were famous 82-game coaches and pretty limited 16-game coaches. I think there's maybe Joe Mazzulla veering into the 82-game coach stuff a little bit the last couple of years, and maybe some questions about his ability as a 16-game coach. Chris Finch is an okay 82-game coach. He's an awesome 16-game coach. Ty Lue is a little bit like this too.
That's what I was thinking of for sure.
You have a bunch of, and I think the best coaches are good at both. Obviously, right? You think about the top coaches in the league; they genuinely are just really good in the regular season, really good in the playoffs. But for Finch, I mean, you could tell he treats the regular season as something that's meant to prepare himself for the playoffs. And I thought that his scout work, him and his staff's scouting ahead of game 1 going into San Antonio, knowing, hey, we need to punch these guys first. And if we steal, the formula for us winning the series is stealing one at home. And our best chance to steal one at home is to get the first one against this young Spurs team that might not see it coming. And they came in with mid-series adjustments right away, taking away all of the Spurs' pet actions, knowing their tendencies. I mean, they were so dialed in to that game. And I think understandably took their foot off the gas a little bit in game 2. By the way, Minnesota feels like they always have one of these every playoffs, right? They got blown out by 27 points a couple of years ago against Denver, still won that series in 7 games. So they're live to just fold in one of these games and then just come back roaring in the next one. But yeah, I trust Chris Finch maybe more than any other coach right now in the playoffs, just to have his team ready to go, to pick on the right things, to pull the right levers, push the right buttons, and to have his rotations ready to go, sorted out, to have counters, to have plan Bs. Like, you never really see Chris Finch at the end of any of these games being like, I don't really know what to do right now. He's situationally prepared for a lot of things.
Yeah, and I think, another example could be like he had a couple of pet plays that I've decided after thinking about it heavily that he'd been keeping in his back pocket for high leverage moments. And he had these fun plays that were designed specifically to attack Wembanyama as a defender. And we saw them in the fourth quarter. I highlighted this at Basketball Poetry, so go check that out if you're interested. But he had 3 different plays that he had been, I think, maybe holding on to when it would really matter, like, a close fourth quarter. And he was able to get those out and kind of, he picked the right time and place, because you burn those too early. Any good defender, like any good defense, and any excellent defender like Wembanyama is going to be able to adjust to him the next time they see them. So there's a time and a place for everything, and I think he's figured out when that needs to happen in the playoffs.
One thing I would like to see more of going forward in this series is, and they did a lot more of this in Game 1, setting those back screens on Victor Wembanyama. We got Julius Randle setting a Gortat screen in that game down. I think it was in the fourth quarter. I want to see more of that. Just like putting a body on Wemby in the paint, just to make sure that he can't get to where he wants to go. And again, they did that in Game 1. They came out with that ready to go, and the game got away from them in Game 2. The foul trouble stuff, all that. They probably just couldn't get to most of that stuff because at some point they couldn't be as physical as they wanted to be. But more of that going forward at home, I think, would be key. But yeah, I love this take. I think Chris Finch is an awesome coach, and unfortunately, it just feels like the Timberwolves are never going to be that team that ends up having one of the top 2 records in the West, because they're just not built that way. So he may never win Coach of the Year. But man, I'm starting to get to the point where I think Coach of the Year is the lamest award we have. It just consistently does not award the people that it should award. And there was like that run of guys that would win Coach of the Year and within 2 years get fired. Like, you don't see that with MVPs. MVPs don't win MVP and then 2 years later get waived, right? Like, it's kind of the most pointless award we have. And I think that just when you watch basketball and you know who the best coaches are, like, we know who the best coaches are, right? Greg Popovich should have had 1 million Coach of the Year awards. He doesn't. Eric Spoelstra still has 0 Coach of the Year awards. Chris Finch is never going to win one. But these are the guys who I think you want in these biggest moments.
Because it's too often it's the and I'm guilty of this sometimes myself too, right? It's too often it's the exceeds expectations award. So it's the plucky upstart award, right? Like I think this year was a little bit of an exception, because like my personal choice was actually Mitch Johnson. I didn't really see anybody else pick Mitch Johnson. I had Missoula 2 and I had Bickerstaff 3. At least all 3 of those guys were coaching teams that were really good in the regular season. We know what happened to the Celtics, but the Spurs and the Pistons are both in pretty good shape to advance potentially the conference finals. But yeah, no, I think to your point, it's never the best coach. It's who is the coach who you're like, oh wow, I didn't think they'd be that good.
Right. Coach of the Year is shorthand for your team sucked last year and now it's good and you switched coaches, and that's one of the reasons why award.
Yeah. So maybe we should rethink how we frame that award going forward. It's and that's something that people talk about all the time. It's a tricky one to like. What are you looking for? What are you valuing in a coach?
I always say this over at Locked On Heat, but like, Eric Spoelstra would have a Coach of the Year award if he had been fired already. Because he would have gotten fired by the Heat, went to some other team, taken that team, made them awesome for 1 year, and then he would have had that narrative part of it. But because he's just been steadily there for 20 years, it's like, well, why are we going to award him? He didn't do better than what he did in the Big 3 or whatever it was. And I think the same could be said for guys like Greg Popovich in the past, even a guy like Chris Finch now. Like, how many teams right now, if you said you could drop your coach right now and Chris Finch can walk into that position, would you do it? 20 teams say yes to that, at least, right?
Yeah. I mean, Spoelstra is one of the top 10 coaches of all time in league history, right? He was given that award despite having 0 Coach of the Year awards. Imagine how many players would it be listed. Imagine if LeBron James let's say Steph Curry, top 10-ish player of all time, 0 MVPs. Do you think he makes top 10 of all time? Is that how people are going to consider him? Probably not.
Probably not, right? There needs to be some sort of like lifetime achievement award for coaches too, because like there's so much that goes into coaching that like spans multiple years. I don't know. I just feel like I almost kind of want to. Do they have Coach of the Year in the NFL? I don't even know. Is that just an award that we have in the NBA?
That's good. I don't know anything about the NFL, so
I don't know.
You can tell me anything, I'd believe you.
Does Major League Baseball have Manager of the Year? I'm admittedly very ignorant when it comes to this stuff, but
well, they do. What's interesting is they do have like a coaching award that is picked by the other coaches. I'm trying to see if I can pull up that list right now.
Yeah, doesn't the Associated Press?
It was. I think it was. No, I think it's done. I think the coaches vote for themselves, or like for each other. Hopefully not for themselves.
No. Yeah, you're right. The Coaches Association or whatever they call. And Eric Spoelstra has a share of that award, I think, at some point.
Yeah, but the last few winners have been like Kenny Atkinson last year. Okay, the Cavs were very good, and then Mark Dagnall the year before when the Thunder came out as the 1 seed, although they lost to the Mavericks in the playoffs that year too. Mike Brown for the Kings was the year before that, so I don't know that it's going to really be that different. Like it doesn't sound like they're giving it all to like the top 3 guys every time. They're kind of falling for a similar. I don't want to call it a trap, but they're falling in kind of a similar pattern, right? It's like, who changed teams and then took them from good to great.
The NFL does have a Coach of the Year award, evidently, and the winner last year was New England Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel. So, good club to be a part of. I don't know if you've been following the Vrabel story, Mike.
A little bit. It's hard to avoid the headlines.
It is hard to avoid that one.